This thing actually works ridiculously well. The first time I saw this, it was absolutely owning everything in the Operation Hostile Mergers, the first mission. It was literally the first mission of that operation. It was the first time I'd seen this. It was the first mission I went into with other players after update 25, and there it was, and they would not shut up about this thing. Oh, it's amazing, it does this, it does that, it does the other. Its alternate fire mode releases the entire clip without the life-saving homing effect that this has on its single fire mode as a single burst. It is a very rapid fire thing, and yes, it may have, well, the best way of putting it is exactly the same status, exactly the same crate, the magazine's the same. I don't know why it has, well, it doesn't. It has more punch through. It actually has some punch through. The primary mode doesn't, but it has a really slow reload on this thing. Not the worst reload of all. There is actually something else from update 25 that takes that crown very nicely, but you also lose the gas effect for its secondary fire mode, so a lot of people will be running this in its primary mode only. Its secondary fire mode is a saving feature because it actually gives it accuracy at range. The second biggest downfall of this is in fact its primary fire mode. Yes, it fires these projectile things, gas clouds. Well, actually it creates the gas cloud on impact. It's projectile, I really don't want to say rockets. Let's just say homing projectiles. I think that's how it's described anyway. It shoots these things, add multi-shot, fills the screen, hunts out enemies. It's great, but the range on it sucks. The range of the gas cloud is actually much better, and the damage that this has isn't that impressive. I mean, it's got 50 impact, and its secondary fire mode, it does way more damage because it physically does more damage. It does 30.2 puncture, 38.9 slash, and 2.9 impact. May not have the gas cloud, but it makes up for it very, very quickly. So secondary fire mode for range. Primary fire mode, well, go to a low enough level, it will annihilate everything, and it is ridiculously useful for crowd control. Somebody will point out the fact that the Lex is one of the slowest reloading weapons in the game, and its reload is 2.3. This is 2.2, so it's not quite there when it comes to how bad this thing is, but yeah, it is really slow on the reload, and honestly it's the slowness on the reload and the lack of accuracy on those tracking rounds in primary mode. Yes, it looks impressive, the damage isn't that impressive until you add multi-shot. Before anybody jumps to the comment section, it actually does get better. Once you do something like Forma it 5 times with 4 Vs and a dash, so Hornet Strike, Magnum Force, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, Prime Slip Magazine to increase the magazine capacity, obviously, because the bigger the magazine, the more rounds you can shoot off before you have to reload this, and it makes a huge difference. Ogre Pack for that extra 90% damage to go with Magnum Force that has 165, and honestly the minus 55% accuracy doesn't matter. Homing rounds. And Pistol Pestilence and Jolt, I don't know what I was going to say before, they are just in here to add corrosive. You can actually increase the gas to this if you want, but I was using this against armoured enemies, so corrosive is on here. And I have been forgetting to mention this recently, but the elemental combo can be swapped out. You can say I've been going against the corpus, so I have magnetic on here, but after recording the rest of this, have realised if you are going to run magnetic on this, you're best off with Ice Storm rather than Frostbite. You may get a little bit less of the magnetic damage, but you do get 4 extra rounds in the magazine. I wish I'd thought of that earlier. Losing a bit of status chance, magnetic. I think I may actually leave Frostbite in there because that extra damage is going to be much more worth those 4 extra rounds. Or is it? Once you have that multi-shot of barrel diffusion with 120% multi-shot and lethal torrent with a 60% multi-shot, yeah, and a 60% fire rate on top of this, hence the reason Prime Slip Magazine is in there, this thing becomes noticeably better. There is no other way of putting it. It's up there when it comes to how useful it is. It takes the accuracy out of it. It will hunt down the enemies, so if you happen to miss or the enemy you are shooting at dies, somebody else kills them, the rockets will go for the next nearest enemy, and that is very useful, making this an insanely useful weapon. If you can get around the... Wait, why did that just move? 250 hexanon it needs a Forma, it needs 5 built Fieldron to build this thing. It is a Mastery Rank 8 weapon, yes, it is quite a pain in the butt to get the research done for this, to be able to research the other weapon, and then actually have this thing and be able to say, wow, this is one impressive weapon that is well worth picking up. If you don't mind spending the next week waiting for your weapon to reload, well, the easy solution to that, as I've always said, if it has a reload that takes too long, swap to another weapon. Taking a good primary with you with a good secondary like this, always good practice. And as always, Auger Pact is on here because Wisp has the Auger mods on, so 160% energy spent on abilities converted to shields. Always useful. But we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch yous next time.